they put it. And our next guest is very serious about border security and the entire issue of illegal immigration. He holds that the president's fiats and executive orders are flat out unconstitutional. Joining us tonight is Senator David Vitter, a member of several key committees, including Armed Services. And in the next Congress, it's just been announced that Senator Vitter will be also joining the Judiciary Committee. He's already chair of the Senate Border Security Caucus. Senator, it is always good to have you with us. Thanks for being here.
Great to be with you, Lou. Thank you for the invite.
Let's talk about what happened over the weekend in the sense that Cruz and Lee were slapped down pretty mightily by the Senate on their efforts to hold the president accountable for that fiat. Your thoughts on the fact that the president has not been actually in any significant way challenged by either the House or the Senate, this Senate at least, in his executive fiats?
Well, I think it's really a shame Republicans split on that vote. A lot of folks split on sort of a technicality, saying, well, it was a constitutional point of order and the spending bill wasn't unconstitutional per se. It's the president's actions that are unconstitutional. I think that's splitting hairs too finely. I think the reality is we are far more united against executive amnesty than that vote suggests. And I think we're going to have a chance to illustrate that early next year. But certainly, I'm very committed to fighting, pushing back any way possible against this unconstitutional action.
With your appointment to the Judiciary Committee, in addition to all of your other prestigious and very important committee assignments, the House Judiciary Committee has reported out 4 bills to the House. I support those 4 bills. I've said point blank, that legislation represents leadership on the part of the Republican Party on the issue of illegal immigration and border security. Why could that not be the initiative that Republicans in the House and Senate combined to drive forward as true, viable, effective reform?
I think it can be, and I'm hopeful it will be early next Congress. One avenue I'm pushing, and we need to do a bunch of things at once, but one avenue I'm pushing is strong pro-enforcement legislation like that. And I think we can move forward with that in the House and the Senate, and we should put those things on the president's desk. So that's one goal of mine. I think we need to do other things at the same time. One thing I've announced is I'm going to oppose this new Attorney General nomination. Now I'll be on the Judiciary Committee for the hearings to oppose it, because that person would be a key person in the Obama administration helping President Obama implement his illegal, unconstitutional executive action.
And on Loretta Lynch, in opposing her, what is the practical effect? Is there sufficient objection to her to void her as the president's nominee?
Well, Lou, we don't know yet. I hope there is. There certainly could be if voters help us focus on this travesty of executive amnesty that's flat out unconstitutional. And it would also help if we went back to the 60-vote rule for executive nominations in the new Senate. But both of those things are a bit up in the air.
There is no question you're one of the most talented as well as experienced and brightest people in the Senate. And there are a lot of people pulling their hair.
I can point to a lot of folks who would argue with you, but I appreciate your opinion.
Imagine that, a politician with detractors. But your alliance with Elizabeth Warren, joining forces were to remove the financial regulation rollback under dodd-frank. That was an alignment that people really got their hair on fire about.
Well, I know it surprised a lot of people. It really shouldn't if folks have followed my work in terms of too big to fail. For instance, I've been working with Sherrod Brown for a couple of years now to try to truly end too big to fail, including by having much higher capital standards for mega banks. This was a similar related issue, and I don't think the taxpayer should be basically subsidizing risky behavior through FDIC insurance, and that's what this issue is about.
And to put it in vastly oversimplified language, what the senator is referring to is the rollback of legislation that now permits FDIC-insured institutions to maintain derivative trading within their corporate structure, which means that the FDIC, as the senator just said, will be insuring what would be a risk that Dodd-Frank did not anticipate or, in point of fact, tried to remove from the institutions.
And Lou, if we had blocked the rollback, as you know, those derivatives could still happen. They just wouldn't be under the FDIC insurance umbrella, wouldn't essentially be subsidized by the taxpayer in that way, and so they would have been more properly priced in the market somewhere else.
And Senator, as you look toward the year ahead of us, you think that this is going to be a constructive, effective Senate and House that will be able to do business with this president who has refused to compromise through the first 6 years?
Well, first of all, moving beyond the Harry Reid Senate has got to be productive and constructive. I'm celebrating this week because this is the last few days of the Harry Reid Senate in history, and that's got to be positive to end that. I hope we get to a more productive place with President Obama, but that's largely up to him. That's about whether he is open to real compromise working with Congress. So far, unfortunately, he showed no willingness in that direction since the election.
Senator David Vitter, always good to talk with you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lou.